to teach the K-12 college and career ready standards in reading comprehension, we have to make sure that we're asking the right questions about the text we're assigning. And when I say the right question, what I mean is it's text dependent. And text dependent questions require two components. First, that you can't answer the question without having read or reread portions of the text. And second, that your answer, your response can be backed up and supported with details from the passage. But not all text-dependent questions have to be hard, and this is where our reading standards come into play. The first set of questions you want to plan for is going to come from the key ideas and textual details portion of the standards. We just need to find out if they're understanding the gist of the passage, but that's not much more than a surface understanding of the passage, which is why the standards have a second tier. This is the author's craft and structural elements set of standards. That includes questions on author word choice, vocabulary, text structure, and author perspective. But we can't stop there. We have to go to the third tier of questioning. We have to expect students to do something with what they now know. They no longer just summarize the text. They have to make some kind of big, deep inference. They have to make a claim. They have to make a prediction, draw a conclusion, some kind of inference that goes beyond a summarization of what the text said. But where do you find lists and lists of text-dependent questions? A lot of teachers ask, is there a book on this stuff? Well, not that I have found. So after culling through lots and lots of reading assessments from a variety of states and a variety of grade levels, I have put together my own set of close reading questions that fall under those three standard categories. There are two sets of close reading foldouts, one for literature and one for informational text, and both are on heavy 11 by 17 cardstock. When you open up the 11 by 17 foldouts, I've given you dozens of questions that honor that first set of standards on key ideas and textual details, and then a second tier of questions for phase 2, all about author's craft and structural elements. And then even more questions on the backside in phase 3, or integrating, synthesizing, and connecting ideas. Now, you don't necessarily need those foldouts, the one for literature and the one for informational text. You can be gathering your own text-dependent questions from the assessments you're giving, from the reading resources you already have. But I think what's most important is that you have those questions organized by the standards at the ready, right at your fingertips, so you can grab and go. So regardless of how you acquire your text-dependent questions, I would have them organized into the 3 tiers and laminate the list. Laminate it so when you're planning your instruction for your next reading passage and you're looking at the list of questions, you identify which ones you want to ask. Which ones does this text lend itself to? You see, you don't have to ask all of the questions on the foldout or in your list that you're building. You just ask the questions that the text lends itself to. Which ones are relevant? Now remember, text-dependent questions have 2 components. We've dealt with the first, meaning you have to ask questions that require students to have read or reread the text. Now I want to talk about the second part, and this has to do with the day you actually assign the reading and we're having the class conversation. As you ask your questions, we cannot be content with the right answer. We must push or probe for evidence. What I mean by that is you have to ask a variety of questions that require students to go back to the text and tell you what words or details help them draw that conclusion. How do you know? What words led you to that inference? What did the author do to help you make that conclusion? Even when they get the answer right, we have to do this. Why? Because their guess might have been just that, a guess at the right answer. Also, because on standardized assessments, what kids are going to have to do is make an inference and then identify the details from the text that led them to that thought. So to achieve these college and career-ready reading standards, we are going to have to make this type of text-dependent questioning a part of our everyday classrooms.